Welcome to the Spen and Nick Show. We're in the office together. That's Nick, I'm Spen. We're going to do something slightly different. Nick, tell these wonderful people what we're going to do today.
We've got piles, literally piles of metaphorical emails piling up from all the people that have been emailing us in with questions about innovation, business, design, and, no, I'm telling a slight lie, we've had one email from one fantastic person who has 4 amazing questions, and what we thought was, well, let's answer them first of all, but second of all, why not make a big thing out of it? And so this is the beginning of Ask Spen Nick Anything. So question 1, and we're going to keep it anonymous, we've been asked to keep it anonymous. How do you sell innovation? That's your thinking face. I found it quite hard to do this. Businesses and people don't know what they're getting. And it's not like web design or app development where there's a transactionary process. It's also not linear and may have multiple sprints or do-overs. Sometimes a company or business just won't stomach the cost. What I'd like to know from your perspective is how do you even go about selling innovation? And then he's got another bit, but I think we should address this first part first.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's gone in hard and fast, straight away, no messing around. How do you sell innovation? That's tough.
That's tough. And I think there was, when we were talking about it beforehand,
Yeah.
we both had some perspectives on it, and I feel like there's a bit that I want to squeeze in before fully answering the question. And that bit is, I think that what you need to do is get people to know, like, and trust you. No one can buy anything from you if they don't know who you are. So first of all, you need to get lots more people knowing who you are. Then you need to get people to like you. If they don't like you, they're less likely to buy. It's not that they won't, but they're less likely to buy. And then you need to get people to trust you. When they trust you, they'll go with whatever you say if they trust you. And obviously you shouldn't misplace that trust. But it's key if you get to that point, because then it's a lot easier to sell your solution in, because they believe you that it's going to help them get their end result. So you need to create that, and the best way to go through that process of creating them knowing you, them liking you, and them trusting you, I find, is through video content like this. Yeah? Because I've, for example, sold a lot of innovation training programs, and they've liked the idea of it, but then I've sent them a video of the content as well, and they've gone, oh, I get it now. And when I just put that free on the internet, it makes it even easier, because you straight away, if you get, either there can be an inquiry via that, or if there's an inquiry and it's about a similar topic that I've made a video about, I can just share that with people, and then they know, they understand it, and they can feel more trust that you're actually going to be able to help them solve the problem that they've got. So I think that's a good start to the answer. But Spencer, you've got it.
Yeah, and I think that what that is all about for me is about getting into the sales room, if you like, or into that situation where you can actually start to think about how to actually sell the thing that you want to deliver. And that's the point where I think I need to pick up on. So for me, innovation can be as huge as massive transformational programs and new product launches and new businesses that might take several years to come to kind of fruition. But they can also be something really small. It could be incremental, but it could also be something which is radical but done very quickly. So I think that once you get into that room and you're having those conversations with people about innovation, they've got some ideas of problems already, right? And so I think what you need to do, and what I often use, is what's the first thing that we can do that's really small to build on those levels of trust. That might be actually a training program, and it might be around like teaching people about design thinking, teaching people design sprints kind of methodologies, teaching people generally about innovation. Those are often good ways to get into the door and start to sell bigger innovation programs, if you like.
Because you've got stages of competence.
Right.
And I'm dreaming that this will come up on the screen right now. It may not, depending on how long we've got to actually edit this. So, stages of innovation. Sorry, stages of competence. So you've got unconscious incompetence, where you don't know that you don't know something. So this is like not knowing that cars exist, and therefore you don't know that you don't know how to drive. Then you've got the next level of competence, which is conscious incompetence. You know that you don't know something. Mm-hmm. So that's like maybe the first time you get in the car and you're like, oh, actually, I realise now that I have no idea how to turn this on or make this.
That's like me with surfing. I know I'm really bad at it. Mm. You're not.
I'm alright. I'm alright. I can jump up. I'm not great at it.
Okay.
And then the next level is conscious competence, where you can do it, but you're kind of thinking about it quite a lot. That's probably me still. If I haven't been surfing enough, so I suppose if I was to go surfing now, I could do it, but I'd be thinking a lot about it.
Right.
And then you've got the next stage, which is unconscious competence, where you're doing it and you're not even thinking about it. You know, you're driving and you're like not even thinking about it.
Remember when you got to that point when you were driving and you'd get out of the car and you go, oh my God, I'm here. How did that happen? My mind was just not focused on the driving, it was just focusing on other things because you were unconsciously able to do it, I guess.
And this is key with companies, because with companies, they often don't know what they don't know, and they don't know that they need to learn all this methodology. They know that they don't know that they need to really embed it, and they don't know that they need to live all this stuff like design thinking, lean startup, value proposition, business model canvas, all these types of things. They just need to learn it, and they need to do it, and they need to spend a lot of time on it. But they don't know that they need to do that. So the first thing you can do is sell them something that opens up their mind to that. And what that tends to be is training, saying, we're going to teach you how to do it. And so we're going to give you all the tools, enable you to do it. But then what they realise is, wow, this is actually quite a big thing. This is bigger than I thought it was going to be. And they go, well, actually, can we just pay you to do it?
And they need the support of the outside perspective as well at that point. So they kind of realise that they're not great at it. They need that additional support, but also they need that additional perspective and kind of otherworldly view of things. So that you can start to bring in ideas from different industries. Those kind of things can be really valuable as well. And that's where the facilitator role kind of jumps up into not just being a facilitator and getting ideas out of people, but actually you're moving it to giving them ideas and being more of a kind of an expert in the room as well around different ideas around innovation. So I think that's a really amazing framework, and we come back to that idea a lot, and we talk about it a lot. The kind of conscious or unconscious competence is where we want to get to. But what else? What other things could we be doing?
What to help sell it?
Yeah. I've got one, by the way. I was just going to test you.
Well, go on.
So I think that we can learn a lot from people like AJ and Smart, right? AJ and Smart, basically an innovation agency, design agency for a lot of years. And then, of course, they got really strong, really pally with Jake Knapp that wrote the book Sprint. And then they just pivoted their whole business. Jonathan Courtney kind of decided to pivot the whole business into a design sprint company, essentially. Now, what I think that did was opened up the door for innovation to all of these companies, and it meant that they could get a foot in the door, and now they're starting to think of other products and other offerings that they can do for people. So that 1 week or 4 day design sprint, whatever that kind of approach is, it's kind of a quick and dirty way to get involved in doing some innovation with some big organizations. So it may be that the first thing you do is go for an education piece, a learning piece. The second thing that you could be doing is running something as small as you can to prove out that you're trusted, or that you can be trusted to build out new product ideas and new kind of designs about things. So I think that's a really good way to
definitely, and I think we need to also talk about inbound versus outbound. So inbound, like my background is sales, and we've done a lot of work in sales before, both of us, and together. And I think what I traditionally would do, or typically would do in the past, was go, well, who are the companies I want to sell to? Who are the people in those companies that I want to sell to? Let's send them messages and set up calls to find out how we can make this happen. And then you just have a big number of them, and then you go through them, and then that's the traditional sales approach, right? And that works. But you're always having to go back to square one. Okay, so maybe you've done some work with one of your clients and they're happy, and then you ask them for a referral, and that's great. But it still means that you're always going to have to go back to going through those numbers games like process. I don't do that anymore. I go through an inbound approach where it's the opposite, where you want to get people contacting you. Yeah? And the way that I do that, and that we do that, is we create video content, post that online, and then also, as I say, for like kind of semi-inbound for people that already know you, and they're talking to you and asking you, saying like, I know what you do roughly, Nick, but like I think I might have an opportunity for you. You're like, great, here's a video about roughly what I think will help you, and this will help you know more. And then with that information, they're like, yeah, that's it. And then you can turn it into a proposal, and it's quicker, because you don't want to create a proposal for a business that you don't know if you're going to get the work for it.
The top tips, I think, are firstly, create content, get known, get yourself out there, get people coming to you because you're an expert in the field, because you're creating great content. That's very much what we're doing to start with. Next thing is you've got to educate people. You've got to get them up to speed on what you can do and what they don't know and where they need some help. The third thing is you start as small as you can. You build out something, you test the market, you build out something and test that relationship as quickly as you can, and you can get, if you do a really great job of that, then you get the trust that you need in order to build out those bigger innovation programs.
Mm-hmm. I want to dive in on this a bit more. So let's take the example of McDonald's. Okay, good, classic. Clayton Christensen would have been happy with that. Many say they sell burgers. I actually think they sell happiness. Cool. That's why they have a clown selling burgers and the Happy Meal, etc. When it comes to JCB, they could argue they sell tractors and diggers, but actually they sell holes in the ground. This is a cool...
Yes!
Okay.
I love that.
But when it comes to innovation, I get stuck. I'm not sure what's being sold. What are your thoughts on this?
Very good. I really like it. Basically what we've done here is he's used a bunch of jobs to be done kind of framework analysis stuff, which is amazing and totally right. I 100% agree with the McDonald's one. Obviously I agree with the holes one. If you haven't seen the moment that I talk about holes not shovels, then we need to go back to an episode. We'll put a link
Episode
up.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
It's
8.
an episode. The thing about McDonald's I want to pick up on firstly is that doesn't just sell happiness to the buyer. That sells happiness to the whole family. I cannot tell you how crazy my kids go when they realise they're getting a McDonald's for dinner. It's a very rare thing, but it's like it's happiness in a box.
So I think the first big job to be done of any organisation looking to work with an innovation agency or an innovation consultant is to try to ensure the continued growth of their business and the future success of their business. So that's the very high level, because they've got their business as usual and they know that's doing fine, but they know in the future they're going to have to do some different things, otherwise they ain't going to be here if they just keep doing what they've always done. So the main job is to find ways to grow the business in the future and have sustained revenue growth in the future from other means, not just the thing that they're currently doing or trying to do it in a new way. Let's look at it at a different level. Well, they need to ensure, first of all, that their people have the skills to deliver new products and services and ways of doing things. So they're trying to upskill their people, but they're also having to go through the process of later on creating those things. So when you bring in an innovation agency, you're helping them grow their business for the future, you're helping them create new products and services and ways of doing things, and you're helping educate their employees to be able to have the skills to do all those things.
So tell these people those three things in the simplest way, because they ain't got time for that.
Number one, they're trying to grow their business in the future, have sustainable revenue, keeping happening in the future. Number two, they want to make sure that they're creating new products and services and ways of doing things to enable number one to happen. And number three, what they're trying to do is ensure their employees have the skills that they need and structures and techniques to be able to create those products for number two and enable that growth in the future and the sustained growth and revenue in the future. That's what I think.
I think that's brilliant. I'm gonna give two other views. The first thing is that I think innovation is about selling a dream of the future. Okay, so it's even bigger picture than just kind of the sustaining your business, because innovation is all about doing something new. It's all about what the future could be. It's what if questions. It's how might we questions. It's looking at what the art of the possible is. And that's selling the future is hard, of course, but actually if you can paint that picture of what the future really could look like, then it's an easier thing to be doing. I think the other thing, and this is like more tactical maybe, which is like, it's a bit of an insurance premium. If you don't innovate, you're kind of going to be out. If you're not moving forward, then in real terms you're moving backwards, especially with all the technological disruption that's happening, with all of the new innovation that's happening. So if you're not innovating, your business is kind of going backwards. So it's almost like you're selling actually insurance to make sure that they are going to be still around. I think that's kind of an interesting way to view it as well.
Okay, question two, it's a good one. I can't decide whether to be a personal brand or an agency. How did you make the decision? They both have pros and cons. I value privacy, but I want to be trusted. And it seems in today's hyper-connected surveillance economy, this is good words, it's impossible not to be on the internet, not have email and still offer any formal consulting services. What are your thoughts on this? I personally believe that you should either be all in or not at all. So if you want to be private, you don't want to get involved with it, great, you don't have to do it. And just don't do it. And that's one way to go about it, and that's fine. However, I believe that there's always a risk when you put yourself out there online. There's always a risk something could go wrong, but you can't live your life that way. The ship is safe in the harbour, but that is not what it was made for. Yeah? You need to go out there, you need to try things. So I believe the best thing you can do is, to answer your question, go for your personal brand. Last time I checked, it's different now, but Elon Musk had 20 million followers on Twitter, and Tesla had 2 million. Yeah? Build your personal brand first, and then you can get all these businesses that come out of it. Same with Kim Kardashian. A lot of people are like, oh, Kim Kardashian, whatever you want to say about her, she's grown her personal brand, and then she can sell anything that she wants afterwards. And then obviously she can play with it because she's got an audience, and then you can build on it. I was very lucky to speak to Jay Shetty's mentor, Thomas Power. And Thomas Power said to me, I said to him, oh, you know, I want to just get some contacts, can you help me out? He said, no, Jay Shetty made 1,000 videos in 3 years. You need to do that. That's how you're going to make this work. And so I recommend you doing the same. Just make video content about the topics that you're interested in and things that you want to be known for. Make those videos, post them, and do it consistently for a long time, because your first 100 will be shit. Look at our first 50, they're still terrible. But we're doing it and we're loving it, and enjoy the process. You've got to enjoy the process. If you hate it, don't do it. But I recommend trying it and practicing it. Try and get 100 episodes or 100 videos happening. Post it regularly, share it with people. I guarantee you opportunities that you never thought of will come to you as a result of it.
I agree with everything you just said. Personal brand first, but here's the thing, I didn't used to. And I've changed, and this man is the person that made me change. I was all about get an agency, get a brand for your company, those kinds of things, but actually none of that matters. Here's an interesting thing that we learned very recently in an interview with the former vice president of Twitter for everywhere, like massive, Bruce Daisley. He said something that really stuck with me, which was, you are not your job title. When you assign yourself or tag yourself to a job or to a company, then you're stuck with that, and it's very hard to move away from that. I think the personal brand element is so important, because that's the thing that you've got forever, and the thing that you can take with you to wherever you go as well.
And so I want to leave it there, but there was something else from Bruce Daisley that he said that I thought was brilliant, because he did his own cartoon CV to get his foot in the door, and there was something else that Bruce said. He said that the people that do their own personal brand, the ones that really stand out and make it, are the ones that put a little bit more of their own personality in there. That's what you want to do when you make your content. Don't be afraid to be you, and don't worry too much about what you're going to say. Just start making the content. Be you, be authentically you, and then that's great, because some people might not like it. Great, they weren't ever going to buy from you anyway. What you want to do is be you, and the people that like you will come to you, and actually just keep doing what you are excited about. Ideally, make the video content about the things that you want to do business in. So I think about that, but then also squeeze in as much of your own personality and stuff that you're interested in as well. I think we should do this as part 1 of Ask Spen Nick Anything, because we've got a curry and I want to go and eat it, and I think this is a long enough video anyway.
Food's arrived. I think let's do a part 2.
And we've got 2 more questions anyway,
which is perfect.
So thank you so much. If you're watching this, whoever asked it, we're keeping it anonymous. Thank you so much for sending them. Genuinely, I think they're brilliant. It brought a massive smile to my face actually getting the email. So I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate all of you for listening to this.
And actually, if anybody has questions not like these, questions like anything, questions that you want to pose to us that we would love to answer, I'm sure we're going to love to answer them. So send them in. Send them to your website.
Yeah, or
Nick Himo.
Or just message us on
LinkedIn,
Instagram.
You can get all of those links.
You can type your questions in the comments on this video, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on LinkedIn, whether it be on Instagram. Come on,
let's do this for us. We want to create some great content. All we want to do is make you happy.
If you could like and subscribe, that would make us happy, very happy. So that's it for today. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. We're going to go enjoy a curry.
Do it again.